Let's go.
Wicked. First question, the starter. What is Regine?
Denim.
It's a hard question. I'll give you the spiel. It's a good test for like the first work day of the year for me. Regine Denim it's a circular denim brand based around like vintage workwear. We primarily make like luxury high-end products from materials that are already in existence, or the majority of what we make is from second-hand materials. So we're fully circular, and we make everything in-house. And we are a community interest company, so we also do our mending. We have the repair shop, which offers a repair service to our community to help them keep their clothes in circulation for as long as possible. But we also do our mending club, which just like has people come in to see us. We normally run that on Textiles. We'll probably start that back up again in March. But it's just like a really chilled 2-hour session where you come and you've got like 2 hours dedicated to mending and like a really nice social environment, which people find really helpful because everybody wants to do their mending. But when are you going to get to it? So having those 2 hours dedicated is like, makes it kind of easier for people to get anything done. So yeah.
And is that in here using your machinery or?
It's all by hand.
Oh,
so,
cool.
I debated about getting a domestic machine for it, but I find it like adds a bit of chaos.
Yeah.
And hand stitching, like Sushiko, is like a really meditative, like mindful practice.
But you can take that away and do it other times.
Yeah,
It doesn't have to
exactly.
be here.
So we normally do it in Bonn just because it's in the south side and it's like kind of, I mean, this studio's lovely, but Bonn's, Bevan's shop, Bonn Textiles, is a little bit nicer. So we've been doing it there all last year, which has been really good. And then I do them externally for other companies as well. So like people will hire me to do mending sessions for them. So it's a mixture of sort of making garments and accessories, and doing a lot of mending.
It's awesome.
Good. So you've already in the short 2018. Was it you started? When did you start?
I officially started in 2018, I think, and then we kind of launched properly. Like we started on Instagram in 2018, and then we launched the website in like July 2019. So I've got like 3 different start dates. It's like the very first drop on Instagram and the first sale was in like January 2018, and I was kind of just figuring out what the hell I was doing, and then I done a couple of editorial shoots and like started building a website. So then I feel like the launch of the like non-Instagram business was in July 2019.
When it was when you seen it as a proper business, and you were full time at this point.
No, I wasn't full time. I wasn't full time really until, well, it was the year the pandemic started that I planned to go full time, and then it was just like a bit of a non-year.
Yeah.
So I kind of was accidentally full time from 2020, but like also shitting myself and like taking any random jobs. So like I've always been, I guess from 2020 I've been working full time on Regine, but also doing like random freelance gigs that come in, like music videos and like working with artists and just like random shit. Like people will hire me just to make stuff. So like if someone's shooting a music video, they'll be like, oh, can you make this thing for that? I'm like, yeah, it's fine. Or like I'll fabricate like mental stuff for my friend who's an artist. So like I have a few like random freelance jobs that normally come around, but it's getting more and more likely that I'll need to say no, if that makes sense.
Yeah, okay.
That's good.
As time goes. So kind of, I guess from 2022, I guess it's been a bit of a journey. I kind of like flung myself into the like full-time mode, but yeah, things come up.
Yeah.
I was freelance beforehand, so I was always kind of winging everything because I was a freelance costume maker.
Nice.
So I would have like a couple of shows, and then I'd be like, right, well, I'll do a couple of drops, and then I'll do the show. So I was kind of doing everything at the same time.
Right.
Like 2019, I literally didn't stop, and then 2020 happened, and it was like, oh fuck. So yeah, it's been a bit of a time.
Sounds like quite the journey though.
And how do you feel about possibly turning stuff down? Because like, so I do a lot of freelance engineering work primarily with one major company, and I do bits and bobs for other. And it's often I have to turn stuff down, and I'm always like, is this a sign of success or is this a sign of I'm not keeping up? Do you know, I never quite know where to place myself in that. What's your thoughts on that?
I feel like it is a bit of like success, isn't
Good.
it?
Yeah.
But without being like cocky or anything.
Yeah.
I think because last year it was a bit of a struggle getting started, and then I think something flicked, like a switch flicked in my head, and I just like said yes to everything. And I probably worked a good 8 months solid, just one thing after another. And then my friend was messaging me like, hey, we need to like look at this thing from this exhibition years ago. And I was like, don't have the mental capacity for that right now.
Yeah.
And then we'll need to figure that out in January. But I'm already like, it's more, I think, is it going to serve you? Like, is this, or do you need it for the money? Like, do you need it because you need it to keep you afloat? Or are you turning it down because you're too busy because you've got all your, like, are you fully booked essentially? I guess I was just fully booked, so I couldn't really take anything else on.
Yeah, you just stretch yourself, wouldn't you?
Yeah.
And how do you determine what fully booked is? Because I'm crap at this.
I'm
Like
the
what fully
same,
booked is
yeah.
versus what fully booked should be is
This
very
is my
different.
like diary that the design trust, and I'm gonna attempt
yeah.
to actually use it. My friend told me about it, and it's like really in depth. But I do this every year. I'll buy all this stuff with the intention of like being really organised, and I'm not like
How far through the year do you get before it goes to the wayside?
I mean, this is the calendar from last year, and I only wrote stuff in September. And it was all stuff I knew, like I just didn't really use it. I'm one of these people where I'll use my Google Calendar, like that is the Bible.
Yeah.
And then I have my like work commission calendar or like diary. And then I just have loads of random lists. Like I'm not very organised, and my partner's always like, Siobhan, you need to write everything down. Like, do you know what you need to do this week? And I was like, yeah. He's like, where is it written down? It's like, it's in my head. And he's like, that's not good enough.
That's me.
That sounds very familiar to what was on in our office.
Yeah, I always forget, and I'm like, shit, I should have, wrote that
Written
down.
that down somewhere.
I know.
To be fair, you usually remember, you just forget details of it.
Yeah.
Like Kate's usually, oh, we've got this thing with such and such.
You're like, but
Where are we
why?
going? What is it we're doing?
I'm getting better though. I'm
Yeah,
getting
you are.
better. Yeah. So the design trust, like, we spoke to, was it Patricia at the
Patricia at
design?
the Design Trust, yeah?
Yeah, we did that.
So is this
Yeah.
their product then? This is their
Yeah,
diary that they've
it was my
released?
friend Hazel who was helping me out with production last year, and she's also like a costume / upholsterer. She comfortably sprung upholstery. Follow her on Instagram. So she told me about it, and I was like, I need that in my life. Like,
Yeah.
I want to like over the festive season, like really like plan out my whole year to like an alien retentive detail. Do you know what I mean? Like have
Yep.
it all. Because every year you start with your best intentions and you want to be
Yeah, of
super
course.
organised. So as the years go by, I feel like I'm getting more on top of stuff. But it's hard when you're like the person that's
Yeah. You're
in control of
yes.
everything. Like it all lies on your shoulders. It
Yeah.
doesn't lie on anybody else. So
I mean,
either you're
yeah.
going to make it happen or you're not. It's either going to go over the line or it's not. It's
Yeah.
like
You're
up
wearing
to
all
you.
the hats, and that's what we always say. Like, you're
Yeah.
literally doing everything, not just the making.
Yeah, I mean, I think as I go on, I'm a bit like, I put a bit less pressure on myself. I was like, you can only do what you can do, and if you can't
Yep.
get it done, it's like it's only you that you've let down. Like, you know, it's not like there's
Let's-
nothing you can do. If you're burnt out, you're no good to anybody. You know, so
I think that's pretty insightful, pretty knowledgeable and clever of you this early on to recognise that, though. To be like, because there's so many people that'll be 10, 15 years in their journey and just starting to realise that. You know, I'm 8 years into doing what I do, and I'm only just realising now that, like, there's some things that are a system failure, not a me failure. Do you know what I mean? So
yeah,
I think so
yeah.
early on, you're doing pretty well to recognise that straight off the bat.
Well, I think I kind of just have always been like working solidly, and then I think after the pandemic and we forced to stop, and it's like a different level of burnout. It's like mental and physical. So, and a lot of my friends that are all creative as well, they're like feeling the same. They're like, I just can't get going, and yada yada. So I think collectively we're all just a bit like, right, if you cannot physically work, just go to bed and sleep and you will feel better tomorrow. So it's like, if you can't do any work, the most productive thing is to rest, and then you'll feel better tomorrow. So and I learned that the hard way.
That's a good takeaway straight off the bat.
Like I took a good, like, I've locked the door here on the 23rd, and yesterday I came in here at like 2:00. And I was trying to come in all week. I was like, Monday I'll go in and got the studio Tuesday. And I was like, right, well, I have to do it today because the guys are coming on Thursday. So honestly, thank you for like making this happen so early on, because I wanted to take a good 3 weeks off because I really needed it. But it was good to have that incentive to like get the studio. So
it's great.
Yeah, good. Well,
still a mess, but it's better than what it was.
Yeah, hopefully a good chat about your last few years now might motivate you and no, don't be sorry. Wind you up into the new year, you know?
Yeah.
So you said there about a lot of your friends are in sort of creative industries and they're creatives as well. Do you have a lot of friends that have got their own businesses and small businesses?
Yeah, so
how does that help you?
There's like quite a community in Glasgow of like small businesses, and we all sort of scratch each other's backs. And I guess, again, not to always talk about the pandemic, but because we were all like online and like constantly on your phone, on Instagram, you ended up like chatting to people as if you were friends, even though you've never met them, kind of thing. So yeah, like I've got like 3 women who all run their own fashion brands, and the 4 of us, well, we had planned Studio Edit, an event before the pandemic, but then that didn't happen. It was supposed to happen in April 2020, and then obviously it didn't happen. So that group chat just became like a support group chat of like venting like a bad customer, or like what to do with this, or here's this project, or is everybody okay, kind of thing.
Really good.
So that's nice. And then we done like a smaller version of that event in November as part of Scott Redesign Fashion Festival. So there's just like a bit of a community here, like lots of jewelers and stuff that we know. And there's people in this building as well. Glasgow's small and people are quite friendly and quite happy to support each other or help each other out, which is nice. Rather, it's like collaboration over competition. Sorry,
so on.
I always say that about Glasgow, probably too much, but
no, not at all.
It is true. It rings true.
That's true.
No, that's good. I think because we were in the building just across there with Fioch watches, and that's one thing I noticed. We obviously work out of our garage at home, and there is times where I'm like, maybe being in a shared studio like this,
should we just
other than the traffic getting in, which is a nightmare, would be really handy. But I do think having that support group and working around other people, obviously not for everybody, but like in certain circumstances, I think it really, really works.
Yeah, it does.
So right at the start, you said with Regine being a circular fashion brand, I'm well aware of this hot topic of like greenwashing. Like what is the circular fashion brand to you? Like why do you define it as a circular fashion brand, and what's the real definition of it?
I'm trying to come away from the words sustainable, because I feel like it's so overused, and it's like everything should be sustainable. Like your income should be sustainable, your life should be sustainable, your garments should be sustainable. And so when fast fashion brands are like, this is our green, conscious, sustainable line, it's like, is it fuck? It's just not. And you don't want people to shop with you just because you're sustainable. You want people to shop with you because you have a product that they like. You want them to want it before any of your values. You want them to see it and think, oh, I want that. So I try to go by circular because we're taking we're taking textiles that are otherwise destined for landfill, and reworking it into a long-lasting, high-end, wearable piece. Just takes a lot longer to make because there's more pieces in it. So yeah, does that answer that?
Yeah, I think it does. So your
and
views,
as well as that, it's also the circularity of like encouraging our community to either use our repair services or learn to repair themselves, and also showing the value in that. Like if you take the time to repair your clothes, either whether you do it yourself with your own hands, or if you even bother to come into me and get my team to do it, like you've actively chosen that instead of just going into town
and buying
a new top, and that shows that you have. So I've invested a bit of time and care into that garment, and by repairing, it's like the sashiko stitching is like it's meditative. Like it's not it's not hard. It's just a running stitch. You're taking, instead of a pen going on a line on a piece of paper, you're taking a needle and you're doing a line, but it's going under, over. Like, it's super simple, it's super accessible, and it's really chill. And then you get a bit of time away from your phone. You can chat to people, and you're just doing something, and you just you just feel like warm, fuzzy, cozy inside. You just feel nice, like
you're doing something good. You know, you're learning something, and
and you've got something to show for it. Like, if you spend an hour scrolling your phone, your brain just feels frazzled and your eyes hurt.
So true.
Yeah.
Whereas if you've done an hour of stitching, and even if that's like 3 lines, if you're like a beginner, you still got that to show for it, you know?
Yeah, rather than
if you're scrolling on your phone,
mindless.
you've got nothing to show for it, apart from maybe if you like
things to show
gave
your
into
friends.
some ads. Do you know what I mean?
Like,
Like,
gave into ads or sent your partner stupid dog videos or
yeah,
something.
like how many TikToks did you send your partner in the last hour? Like 300. Well done.
And when you set out to start, did you set out to start a fashion brand, or was it very clear you wanted to do a sort of circular fashion brand? Was it the concept of repair and reuse?
So like right at the beginning, I didn't really know what I was doing.
Don't think we all do.
And yeah, exactly, nobody does. So I just moved back from London, and I've been working in Levi's doing like repairs and alterations, and as well in a vintage factory, kind of upcycling. Before that was really the term, but we would get bags of stuff and we'd like cut it up and remake it into stuff. Like, so those two things kind of planted the seed for Regine. But when I came back, it was more, right, who am I to start a fashion brand and spend money I don't have on rolls of fancy fabric? Like, I have no idea if I'm actually going to be able to shift any of that, because like, how am I going to access the market? Do you know what I mean? So I was like, I'll use old jeans. Like, I had this idea in my head, but I don't think I'd really developed it. I was just kind of like working through it, if you know what I mean.
Yeah.
So I just like started, like I made a sample. It wasn't terrible. I went to Prince's Trust and like done an enterprise course, and like you just start, and then the ball starts rolling. Like, you'll know the same for yourselves. You've had a conversation, and
I
then
did the Prince's
you've
Trust as
done
well.
and then you do one action,
and
one action leads to another action, and then before you know it, the ball is just rolling, and you
Comes
just
into
keep
place.
going. So I kind of just gradually found my feet. Like, the product I was making in 2019, and even like 2019, and then what it is now is like totally different. Like, it's developed so much. So I feel like as of like last year, I was in a place where I was like really, really happy with it, and then there's a few more things I want to develop, and obviously you're always developing everything. And there's a few new things I want to add to it, but like, you're always just developing the product and then figuring out new ways to like get out there and stuff. So
how do you get your wares out there? Is it through your website? Or?
yeah, it's mostly online and through stockists. We're gonna do a big batch of gifting soon, and like get in touch with, like, we're trying to get in touch with like celebrity stylists, like, who dresses this person, right? Hi, things like that. It's like
We need to Emily and connect.
Our neighbour.
figuring out how to do stuff like that.
Yeah.
So
So remind us, I'm going to say it now, just remind us, we've got a neighbour whose daughter is a stylist for loads of people down in London. Some quite high-end clients, actually.
Yeah, nice.
And she also does like a styling school, and she's kind of built her business around it. She seems like she's really, I don't know that industry, but she seems like she really knows what she's doing. So remind us after this to put you in contact.
But the thing is, if we can get our stuff on like big names, you need to go through the people that dress them.
Yes.
So now that the product is in a place that like I'm really like chuffed with it, and I don't really see any faults with it, and like, you know, not that I did at the time, but you know, like now I'm like I can see that growth and the progression. So yeah, that's a few things we need to tackle, and then we have some collaborations this year that are a bit bigger than ones we've had before. Nice. So there's a few things in the works for this year, which is exciting.
It's always good to have like these things planned, and you can work towards them, because trying to get collaborations, it takes a lot of work.
Yeah, it does.
Oh yeah, the one that's in the pipeline, I've been emailing them since like 2020.
There we
go.
Wow.
And it's now coming together. They've been like, yeah, we want to do it. We'll do it this year. Like, it's happening. And that's with a brand that's like huge compared to me. So We'll see how that goes.
Good.
So if that goes well, that'd be great. And we're doing an exhibition with a local textile weaver, Christopher McAvoy,
Yep.
who's probably someone you should interview because he's round the corner and he's
We
got...
met him at the whiskey tasting.
Oh, you would have,
Oh,
yeah.
Yeah.
So we're doing an exhibition called Studio Floor together,
Cool.
where it's like a creative conversation between his studio floor and my studio floor.
That sounds good.
So essentially taking each other's trash, like what is literally destined for the bin, and making something with it. So we created 6 looks for the Scott Redesign fashion show in November, just to kind of get the first batch out, and then we need to make some more.
So sorry to butt in, just to clarify. So you're taking his scraps, he's
And
taking
vice
your
versa.
scrap. Oh, nice.
That is
Yeah.
so
Nice.
cool.
That's a cool concept.
Yeah, so, and the idea is that it's sort of a roadmap for other creatives. So, like, we've just kind of set out the project, but anybody can kind of do it. So, depending on how this year goes, the plan is to do an exhibition from April, I think it's April 13th we'll open it, and it'll be for 2 weeks at the Anderson Pyramid.
We need to go.
Yeah, definitely.
Which that should coincide with Fashion Revolution Week and Climate Week or Earth Week or something. I
Might
can't
be Earth
remember.
Week,
There's
yeah.
like Earth Day that
Yeah.
is right in the middle of Fashion Revolution Week. Anyways, it ties in with some big events. So we're doing that, which will be good. And then either hopefully we can tour that outside of Glasgow, and then if it goes down well, we can invite other people to basically do the same thing. But
I could see that being
you
a
know
really
what I
cool
mean? It's
concept.
like
Yeah,
if we do it, and then the next year 2 other people behind they do it, and it's just like
Need to document the whole
so.
thing for sure.
yeah, document it
Yeah,
all.
yeah. That we're
That'd be
trying
really
to.
cool, though. See if you had like, you obviously grow it to 10, 15, 20 different people. And
Yeah, it's just every year 2
Yeah.
people do it, and it's like two creatives from different practices work together. Yeah, and that again was another like pandemic idea, and then
Pandemic was great for ideas.
great for ideas, wasn't it? Brilliant. So that was an idea, and then we just kept saying, "Oh, we'll just try and do things like in our own time," but in reality, we didn't have our own time. So we're like, if we want to do this, we need to just get funding to do it, because if we have money to be paid to do it and to like do it all properly, then we have to do it. And we have
Did
to
you
do
get
it well.
Did you get funding?
Yeah, so Creative
Amazing.
Scotland funded the project, so
Oh.
we're like halfway through it.
Good.
So I've got a lot of that to do.
Yeah.
Just remembering all the work I've got to do.
Need to write it all down.
Yeah, it's in my diary. It's on a note somewhere.
And how do you find stuff like that, the funding? Like, we found it inherently hard to get funding because we're not like with, and I totally get why they do it. You're not with Creative Scotland, or you're not with X, or you're not in Scotland, or you're not UK wide. We're a bit more international, so it's been difficult for us. But how have you found the access to funding for creatives in Scotland?
Because I'm a social or ethical or sustainable business, with like environmental goals or green goals. We're circular, we're textiles, and we have a social impact. To get funding in Scotland, you need to directly benefit your local community,
Yep.
Yep.
and you need to bring something to the country or the city. So we've been all right with funding. Like, I've had some money from First Port for just this business, and then Creative Scotland, that's for a specific project.
Yeah.
Yep.
So yeah, like, it's a lot of work. I'm terrible at applications. I hate them. Chris is better at them. Like, I tend to, if I need to get some funding, I need to get somebody to help me with the application.
Yeah.
Like, if you can't do an application, don't stress. Just find somebody to help you
Help
with
you.
it. Like, because everybody, if you can get funding, don't not get it because you can't do the applications. Like, I wouldn't have got any of the funding I've had if I hadn't had help.
Oh, it's a skill set within itself applying for that
Yeah,
stuff,
like,
isn't it?
my mum and my aunt really helped. Jack, who's one of the directors of the company, he helped with the First Port one, and my friend Caitlin's going to help with the next one of that. And
Nice.
Good.
yeah,
Makes a
so it's a
difference.
whole, yeah, you need help with it.
Yeah.
You can't be doing this, and then it's too much.
That's a few things now you've mentioned. You don't seem scared to ask people for help at all.
I think I am, maybe more in my personal life, but in like work stuff, it's like you scratch your back, I scratch, like, you know,
Right.
we scratch each other's backs. Like I help people out a lot and people will help me out a lot, you know?
Yeah.
Like if I see an opportunity on Instagram, I will send it out because I want people, like you want to see other people doing stuff,
Yeah.
and that kind of comes back to you.
You help someone, they help you.
Yeah,
It's
and then
just-
in the
but
future
it's
they might
like,
send you something back.
but if it's like a photographer that I've worked with, they're looking for a stylist or a florist or this and that, and I know them because I've worked with, you know, yeah, I know a lot of people in Glasgow, and I love like sharing around opportunities and like just getting everybody involved. So
Yeah.
like it makes me feel happy if I see that they've created
Yeah.
something beautiful, you know, and
Yeah,
I'm like,
yeah.
Sophie's great, yeah, Agnes, babe, you had a good day, like it's nice.
Yeah,
So,
it is. Yeah.
you want to get everyone involved. Yeah.
I think that's quite important. That is quite important. So, where did it all start though? Because you mentioned the Levi and the vintage. Did you always know you wanted to be in fashion and textile? Has that just been your dream since yay height?
When I left school, I liked art and design, and I knew I didn't want an office job. Like I knew I didn't want to be at a computer. I knew I couldn't do that. Like I always had double information systems last period on like a Wednesday or something, and I would always fall asleep in that class to the point where my teacher would be like, Siobhan, go and have a walk, get a drink of water. And my seat was like right by the teacher, so like I couldn't hide. But I was so tired, like, yeah, so I just didn't like thrive in that environment. And my mum's an art teacher, so I guess I got that. I just was like, I knew I can do that.
You just knew.
So yeah, I went to Cardonal College and done fashion and textiles, and then I studied in Manchester for 2 years doing fashion. Then I went to London, pottered about, worked random jobs, and then came back and was like, oh, I should probably do
something of my own.
Yeah. And I was working in costume, but I kind of always had this idea for, like, when I left London, I already had the seeds of the idea, but I didn't really know how I was going to do it.
Right, okay.
And then I came back and there's that sort of creative community here. It's a bit easier to start up your own business. And it was at that time when Instagram was quite good and you could start something and you would actually get leads from it, and like you could sell stuff quite easily before. Because when the pandemic started, it was like got too noisy and everybody was like starting up their Instagram business. But 2018, 2019, Instagram was still good. But yeah, I saw a few of my friends. Actually, my one friend, Rebecca, I worked with her on the panto at the Tron. And then she finished a double panto season, madness, and then started her own business and was like, oh, can you help me make up stock? I'm like, I've got a shop on Great Western Road. She was like, she just rented a shop space on Great Western Road and simultaneously launched her brand. She just like done it.
Wow.
But she's from like a family of shopkeepers. Like her mum's always like worked in shops, so that was like the natural way for her to do it.
Yeah.
Like the kind of old-fashioned way, but also in today's society it's quite ballsy. But it was just natural for her to do it that way. Anyways, I helped her set that up, and then seeing her do that was like, oh right, if she can do it, you can do it. So I kind of just started. It kind of took seeing somebody else do it and then having a bit of time and space, and was like, you've been talking about this for ages, like just fucking do it. So
You had the confidence then just to...
yeah, and it's one of those things like once you start talking about it, you have
can't
to
get
do
out of
it.
your head.
Yeah,
You're like, I have
but
to
like
do this.
you have to tell somebody, because if you tell them, they can pull you up for it.
Yeah.
Keep it to yourself. Nobody knows about it. So if you say it out loud, it's like it makes it a bit more real. So
Yeah, I'm a big fan of that. I like saying stuff like if I'm kind of swimming with something, I'm like, I'll just say it out loud, and then someone will pull me up in 2 months if I've not done
Have
it.
you done that yet?
Yeah.
Have you done that yet?
Yeah,
Oh
totally.
no,
What
I should
about
really do
you're
that.
going to do?
Yeah.
well, I've done that a lot this year. My big goals for this year, which probably is a bit out there, but I want to try and do a pop-up in Japan.
Oh yeah.
Nice.
Japan would love.
And then my sister's in Australia, which is kind of, Japan is like halfway to Australia, so the plan is, now this probably won't happen, but
You have
we're
to
going to
do it
try,
now.
guys.
You've said
I'm
it.
saying it on a fucking podcast. So it's going to be a huge fail if I don't manage to pull at least one of these off. But the plan is to do like a pop-up or some sort of thing in Japan. I already have a stockist in Japan, but I want to do something in Tokyo. my Stalking is just outside of Tokyo, like coastal.
Nice.
And then if I can also do something in Australia, then I can sort of do these two, kind of like what you were saying with the America trip, like work trip, but also
Bit of enjoyment. You got to
take
fun.
life into it as well,
Yeah,
have fun,
exactly.
experience it. So Japan would be more work, but it's still like Japan. But my sister's been out in Australia for a really long time, and they bought a house and stuff.
You've been over.
Been over a few times, but I really want to go over and see her, because she's having to come back here a lot, and it's like, no, like I want to come to see you, rather than you have to come back just to see the family. It's like quite stressful. If I go to see her, it's like proper time. So yeah, we'll see. But that'll be like towards the end of this year. So
That sounds
but
really
I've been
exciting.
telling everybody, because I'm like, I'm just telling you so that it's more
You
chance
have to
it'll
do it.
happen.
Yeah.
Whereas when I started the brand, I was like, I've got this sweet idea. Like pure sheepish, like petrified to say it out loud. Whereas now I'm like, I'm just fucking saying it so that it happens.
Yeah, quite right. But like Japan, from like a denim point of view.
Well, yeah, exactly.
Like-
So I done Amsterdam last year. We done the Denim Days festival.
Oh, did you? Nice.
So yeah, the things I done last year, like I done Space at 17, month-long pop-up in Edinburgh, which was great. It was really good to have like a front-facing like shop unit and
People
like
can
a
come and like feel it.
and like a
see
really
it.
prominent market. Like Stockbridge does really well. It's a really nice shop space. So that was brilliant. And then I was like, right, okay, we'll do Amsterdam. So me and my partner drove to Amsterdam.
Yes.
And back.
Is that when you were saying about getting the Eurotunnel?
Yeah, the
Yeah.
Eurotunnel. Oh my god, I was like a kid.
Wicked.
Because
So good.
I just had no idea what to expect.
I had
If
no
you
idea.
haven't seen it,
Yeah.
you're like, what is this train that carries cars? So I
You don't
was
even
like,
get time to enjoy
I was
it.
baffled. I know. I was like, we were like taking those pictures. I was like, this is gonna be the best view ever.
Yeah.
And then it's like 30 minutes. It's great.
Yeah.
And
Don't
then
even
driving.
have time for a nap.
No, I know. No, not at all. Not at
So
all.
good.
But yeah, it was brilliant. So we done that there and back. We came back with loads of denim as well. Like this trader at Denim Days was like, oh, these are all going. So we're going in the bin unless you want them. And I was like, yeah.
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 So the car was like, we couldn't even see it at the back.
I just got pictures of you like this at the windscreen.
like literally, I had to like ditch one of my rails in Amsterdam so we couldn't fit it all in.
Oh my god.
But you got loads of denim, so it was totally worth it.
Yeah, but like I got that for free, and I would have paid a lot of money for that, so it's good. I think it's all like really old vintage fakes from Spain, like fake Levi's, but it's really good
But hey,
denim.
it's
so I
good
picked that
denim,
up.
and
Yeah,
you saved it for the bin, so
yeah, exactly.
These are
That's
the thing.
brilliant.
You know, if you travel, you get all these different opportunities that you might
Yeah.
have not got if you didn't go.
Yeah,
So
So you done the denim. What else did you do all last year? You done the Denim Days.
Denim
The-
Days is like a sort of denim like festival market.
Yeah.
Don't really know what to expect, but like Amsterdam is like the denim capital of like Europe, I'd
Yep.
say. And then Japan is like the world renowned like OG denim capital, and then obviously you've got the USA as well. So I was like, right, cool, we'll do Amsterdam, and then I'll do Japan next year. Done.
done just like that. Just book it. Just
Aye.
book it.
So I need to figure out how I can do Japan, but I need to set up some meetings with people and figure out the plan. But hopefully I can pull it off.
I look forward to
That'd
seeing
be
you in
wicked.
Japan.
Johnson's of Elgin have got a store in Japan.
Yeah, they do.
There you go. They're really good. They seem. We've not had meetings with them or anything yet, but they had a call with us, and they just seem like so invested in makers and like smaller businesses as well, which was really cool from such a big company. So we'll see how it goes. But
My friend Deborah, Dastardly Line. She's got two businesses, and I'm now worried I've used the wrong name. I think Dastardly Line is the right one for that because it's long arm quilting for the one. Anyway, she takes their selvage and weaves it into
nice.
like blankets and jackets and scarves and shit. So she's been working with them, which is good. So, yeah.
that's cool. Yeah. So you've already got inroads.
Yeah, I know. I'm
Hopefully.
like I
A little contact.
have a
somewhere.
contact. Like, so yeah.
Good.
So Japan next. So Japan, you've done a fair Japan this year, fair bit last. What does the future look like for it? Have you got like lofty goal? Japan's a lofty goal. Don't get me wrong, but like in the future years, or are you quite happy with where it is now? You've got an assistant on now, don't you? So you've grown to one other
Yeah,
person.
so I have a marketing assistant, Ruthie. She helps me out like a couple of days a week.
Nice.
She's an angel. She's like a total hype man. Like she comes in and she's just like this like beam of positivity.
what you
She's
need.
just like really good, like the best energy. So she's great.
She's just helping you with marketing. She's not the hands-on side of things.
No. She's like, social media, email newsletter, and as we can get her in for like more days, we'll need to do more PR and stuff, and yeah. So she kind of does all that. She works in PR and then she does bits for me as well. So
Cool.
Where did
That's
you
really
find
good.
her?
I just listed a job.
Yeah.
And done some interviews over Zoom, and yeah, hired her.
Nice.
She's
that,
the best.
That must take loads off you though.
Yeah.
Like we're
Yeah.
so conscious as we're so
But even also just saying, it's like, oh yeah, I have somebody, like you're more than just one person. People take you more seriously as well.
does it help you feel more like a business?
Yeah, and also like at events and stuff, like she's the best at small talk.
Yeah.
She's like the best at small talk. Like she will talk to you for 5 minutes and she will know your whole life story. She's like, what did you have for breakfast? What's your favourite meal? What's your different meal? Like I just like listen to her do like the small talk and I'm like absolutely baffled.
Yeah.
Whereas it takes me a bit longer to like, once you get me going, I'm chatty Cathy, but like in the beginning I'll be like a bit like more reserved and like shy, whereas Ruthie's like, right, we are getting the chat in.
It does help when you're
So yeah, she's great. And then I have some like people I can pull from for production help as well. So when I need more hands-on, I've got like a list of people I can book and shit. So
Good.
But I guess the next stage, what I'm toying with is, do we get a shop space?
Oh.
And it just feels like a really scary decision because we're obviously in a recession, and I feel like I'm constantly seeing a lot of businesses closing right now, mostly because they're like, it's just not worth it. Like we're putting the graft in and what we're getting in return isn't covering it.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, no, it's worrying that,
It's
isn't
scary. I mean, I've seen it more in hospitality, but yeah, my plan is, well, I don't know yet. I need to weigh it up, but
Just say it out loud.
if I can find a big enough unit and have like quite a small shop front that would be the collection, like our garments ready to wear, and then we'll have the repair shop, and that'll be the sort of visible shop front, and then we'll need to have the workroom in the back.
It's a bit like Mackenzie Leather in Edinburgh, where they have like, you literally see them making the bags
Yeah.
right there, but their stock's there as well, so you can go in and browse, but you can also see them making, which
Yeah, it's partitioned, isn't it? But you can see it.
Yeah. Which makes such a difference to someone actually investing in your brand and seeing where it's made and where it's come from.
I think you need to have that public facing space for like a year or two to like build up your sort of your clients,
Yeah.
your customer base. So I think that would be really good. It just seems like the riskiest time to do it. But then everybody always says, there's no bad time to start business. It's not that I've not started, but there's no right or wrong time. So if we get the next bit of, it's not a grant, it's actually an investment. It's like a loan, essentially. It'll be a business loan. So if we get awarded this business loan, then that's the logical thing to do with it. Because it needs to be Scotland related and based in Glasgow and stuff. So it would need to be that. It just feels
Sounds
a bit
perfect for you.
It just feels a bit risky, but that's the next thing that we'll be working towards here, alongside the 2 projects and Japan and Australia.
You're not scared of hard work, are you?
No, but when I say it loud, I'm like, oh.
That seems a lot. I know.
Don't know if that'll work. But they're all big ifs. Like I'll need to be awarded the money and find the place, find the unit. So.
And what would you look for? Something like good footfall, the sort of
I feel
classic?
like it would need to be Southside because there's a lot of like menswear destinations and like high end shops in the West End.
Yeah.
And I've got a Sockist Orzo there, so I feel like it would make more sense to be Southside.
Right.
And I feel like because Glasgow's small, people will come to you as a destination anyway.
Yeah.
And
you're
it's
great
not-
to chat to, so just
yeah. But I don't really want to be like a shopkeeper,
Yeah,
so
I know what
like
you
I
mean.
don't want to have to like buy in loads of wholesale products just to like
Keep it
make your
going.
margins. Like I don't want, like that's a whole other job description, that's a whole other job title to add to the ridiculous list of things.
Yeah.
So, and because I've worked in retail in the past, I don't really want to Do you know what I mean? Like I don't want to be retail, but I guess I am retail, haven't I?
Yeah,
So,
but for your own products.
yeah. Well, yeah, exactly. So
You could also say that about any job, because as
it's
soon as you're
weird.
your own business, like if you'd worked in HR in the past, you're also HR. If you'd worked in accounting,
Yeah,
do you know
and
what I mean? You just have
everything.
everything.
I just don't want to have to like. But I mean, you do what you have to do. But I would like it just to be mostly our own stuff and maybe a few other bits and bobs. But I guess it would also be like a workshop space, so we would also run our workshops there.
Workshops are really big.
And we would like open up to other people and so it depends on the unit and stuff like that. And it would allow us to create more jobs and stuff. Like we'd have more people in. In my ideal situation, I think we'd only be open like a couple of days a week to the public, but we'd be in all the time.
Yeah.
But I don't know how that'll work. That's like the ideal situation, but we'll see.
You'll make it work, I'm sure.
So yeah, that may or may not happen. I was supposed to get that application in at the end of last year, but that didn't happen. So I need to get that in ASAP. Running a bit behind.
And so if you're looking at a shop front, what does your current range? Is it all custom? It's not all custom stuff you do. You've got a staple range as well, don't you?
Yeah, so we have our core collection that we're constantly like working on, and that's a range of like masculine fit pieces and feminine cut pieces. We kind of defined ourselves as unisex, but then when you're trying to make a garment like fit correctly, you kind of need to have two different styles. So instead of calling it menswear, women's wear, it's like masculine fit, feminine fit, and anybody can wear them. And then our accessories. So yeah, we have kind of ready to wear stuff. We've stock available. You can order straight from ready to wear, or you can order custom. So you can say, I want that, but like this.
That's cool.
Or you just come in for a custom fitting. Or if you're not in Glasgow, you can't travel, we just do it on Zoom. So
That's a good idea. So do you ship everywhere, like all over the world, or?
yeah, pretty much.
Pretty much.
Yeah. And what does that core collection look like? This is your full core collection up on the wall here. Do you want to talk us through that?
I mean, it's all on the rail behind you. That's a bit older now, but
I love the dungarees. I want a pair.
So we're going to be doing a dungaree dress soon.
Nice.
Basically, I developed the menswear side to like or masculine side to a stage that I'm happy with, and I kind of just want to do a little once over of the feminine pieces, and then we'll probably launch that soon.
Nice. I look forward.
Again, I'm just like listing off all this stuff, and I'm like, but yeah, so we've got our Tron jacket, which is based on the like classic Type 2.
Yep.
It's like a shorter trucker style. It's got the kind of chest patch pockets. They're repurposed from the jeans that we cut up, and then there's also like side entry pockets for a bit more functionality. We've got our Berkeley, which is raglan sleeve, which is nice and flashing, soft on the shoulders, and then we have our Elliston, which is just your classic like workwear chore jacket, and the Gallows a little bit more relaxed, with bellowed pockets, so they're more 3D. I think that's everything.
Yeah, like your logo patch on it. It looks good.
Yeah.
So I've actually taken the label off the
Have you?
front, and it goes inside on the button stand.
Is there a reason for that?
Just like feedback over the years, and like I think men especially don't like a big label on their clothes. Our label is big and red, so red's not everyone's colour. So people can request it on the front, but as of like last year, I've started moving it to the inside of the garment. You can still see it, like it would be like there.
Mm-hmm. So if you take your jacket off,
Yeah.
you'd see it still.
So yeah.
And what does that? So you've obviously they're all made up out of, the cuts of what would be destined for the bin denim. Are people specifying what denim wear? Like you look at the work jacket you've got on now. Are you choosing where all that goes? Do people specify that? Is it kind of free for all?
So at the beginning, it was just a free for all. I made it up as I went along, and then I started to standardize the patchwork.
Right.
So like I'll have the pattern, and I'll actually cut out the patchwork pieces.
Right.
Like so. There's not like on an Elliston, it's like almost like a grid, so it's like 1, 2, 3, 4. So each pattern piece will have 4 pieces. So yeah, I standardize the patchwork. Otherwise, nobody else can do it but me. If all the pattern pieces are there, somebody else can cut it.
Yeah.
you know.
Which opens you up to being able to expand in the future a bit more.
Yeah,
Right.
because I was getting people like less experienced than me to help, so it made more sense for them to cut and for me to sew.
Yeah.
But then when I got Hazel in, she was such a good sewer that it made more sense for me to cut and her to sew.
So, yeah.
And then I would
Right.
come in and help with the finishing and stuff. Like, so yeah, it's all like learning how to manufacture so this quickly with two people is like really nice. But like if there's two people in, we can like pull off maybe 7 or 8 pieces in a week, which is quite good. Whereas, or maybe even 10 if we were really on it. But for me, it would take, it's like one full day to like cut and make one individual piece. And if I get it all totally finished, that's like a big day.
So it'd be a full day for you to manufacture
One piece on my own.
And that would be a big. That wouldn't be sustainable to do that every day, though. Surely not.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. So
Yeah.
so even between two of you, you're talking 7, 8, maybe 10 pieces in a whole.
Yeah. So there's like,
So it's
like
labour intensive.
Yeah, that's why that is the price tag. Like
That's
people
what I
say,
wanted to
people
get onto.
say that they're really like, the price tag is high, but you're paying for the labor and the manufacturing and the sourcing. You're not paying for the fabric. You're literally paying for the labor. Because when you cut something off of a new roll, you cut each individual piece. And it takes like half the time. You could make maybe 4 in a day or something, maybe more. Depends.
Because it's just one big blanket.
Yeah, you
1.5 metre roll the whole way.
Yeah, exactly.
stick
Just
'em all
roll it
down.
off, cut it, blah, blah, blah. You can like batch cut and stuff. Whereas
Oh, you
they
see the
need
people,
to,
it's multiple thick and it's the big knife cuts.
Yeah, you get the blade, you get the like electric
Which would be
rotary
impossible
cutter.
for you.
Oh yeah, totally. Everything's like one of one.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So like it's a bit more standard now because we've like standardized the patchwork and we have like color palettes. So like we'll have like a mixed blue, we'll have like a mixed dark blue, pale blue, or black. You can ask for jet black or like mixed black, which will have greys and stuff in. So if you're buying straight off the website, you kind of get what you get, and you can obviously leave a note in orders and say, and if it's made to order, I'll probably be like, if you have any specifications, like let me know, because it's made to order, so you might as well tell me now.
Yeah.
And yeah, otherwise if it's custom, people will come in and literally hand pick colors.
That's really cool.
So yeah, and like when I first started, I didn't like working with all the blues because I find it really like scary because they're all so similar. But then as you get better, you kind of people want a nice color palette of blue denim, whereas I tended to work with blacks and the colors first, and then
Oh, really?
I'd like dye the blues. So it's been a bit of like a journey. Whereas now, like you want. Also, I wanted it to be more colourful, whereas now it's like more understated, and like even the details in like the top stitching, like you'll do a contrast, like tobacco, or in some of them I'll do like one line of like off-white, so it's like getting the top stitching just right. So it's just trying to basically make it as close to like traditional workwear, but there's like really subtle patchwork in there.
Little strokes of you.
Yeah,
through
exactly.
Yeah.
So it's like that garment is made from textiles that would have other been destined for landfill, but if you look closely you can see like you see the colour palette change, and you want it to be subtle but it's there. So it's a little bit different. It's like high end, it's cut. Yeah.
I like the colours in your jacket that you're wearing.
I made this up for Amsterdam because I didn't really have any of my own pieces to wear, and I only had pale blue denim left, and I'm more of like a dark blue or like all black gal.
Yeah.
So I really need to make myself.
Yeah, you
a
forget to
black.
make things for yourself.
Well, yeah, because it takes so long to make. I'm
Yeah.
like, oh, just shove on a sample. But I need to make myself a black kimono. I need to make myself like the whole range for me in
Yeah,
black.
you do. Because you're the
Especially
one.
if you're going to Japan, which
Yeah.
you're going to.
Yeah, thanks. Cheerleader. So yeah.
That's exciting.
What was it about the workwear that attracted you to that? You know, because it seems like recently, like every big brand's been trying to push towards the workwear.
Well,
Few of
workwear is
them are doing
really,
well.
it's really wearable and it's smart. Like you can put on like a canvas or like one of those vintage like French tour jackets over like a semi-smart outfit.
Yeah.
Like I feel like it's accessible for everyone to wear.
So true.
I feel like a lot of women are dressing more androgynously and more masculine, looser fitting styles, you know, so it means that we're creating a product that can kind of everybody can see themselves in.
Yeah. Yeah.
So even though it's a niche product, we can make something for pretty much everybody.
Yeah.
It's strange that, isn't it? Because you're right, it is a niche product, but it seems like when
But
you lay it out like that, it's the
actual
sensible thing to
garment,
do.
yeah, the garment is really accessible to all, but the actual story behind it and the price and like the manufacturing is like a bit niche.
Mm-hmm.
And it really lends itself to the workwear thing.
Well,
the story behind
exactly,
it.
yeah. There's a book underneath you, and it's like all Japanese. It's all like vintage denim, like from the years it's in Japanese, but it's like every single like denim jacket and like under the sun from back to like the 1800s. I'll get it out, and it's like a great sort of archive to have a look at. So yeah, just to like, be like looking at details and stuff and like learning and making a more authentic product.
And is that what you expected Regine to be when you started?
I mean, like I said, it's been like learning on the go.
Aye.
Like a chore jacket was just a chore jacket to me, but like now I know so much more about like denim and like denim heads and people that are just so into denim. And I wouldn't
There's
class
so many of them.
And I wouldn't class myself as a denim head, but I'm like, I should.
Yeah. You work with it.
So yeah, and you've got to like learn about the history of the product that you're trying to make or remake or replicate or whatever.
To get an understanding of it.
But also like if I create like a really authentic like denim jacket that almost looks vintage, but it's like new,
Yeah.
you
New
know,
bit vintage, yeah.
then
they all have a
it's more
history.
appealing, isn't it?
Yeah,
It's
yeah,
not going to
absolutely.
look like badly made. It looks like the real deal,
Yeah.
but with a slight twist. So, and it makes more people want to stalk our brand, or you know. So it's like learning what works,
Yeah.
which is what I've been doing because I didn't know straight away, you know.
I don't think many of us do. It's just, you're just learning all the time. Like, I'm still learning every day. I mean, you've been doing your job for how long? And you're still...
I still learn every day.
Yeah.
Every day I look at new stuff.
Yeah.
8 years in, and I would consider myself very junior in the world of it.
And you learn by like speaking to people. Like you go and approach business owners and designers that are like have more experience than you and be like, this is what I'm doing, what do you think?
And they're happy to tell you. Most of them are happy to tell you.
Yeah, I mean, if you've got a connection,
Yeah.
like, yeah, you getting in. You know him, right? Send
Yeah.
email, introduce us.
Yeah.
CC me in.
Yeah, hi. And you chase them up until they'll like let you come say hi.
I know,
Yeah,
I know.
yeah.
Just keep following up.
And you mentioned stockists there, and obviously it grown to this for stockists. And where are you all stocked? How did the stockist thing work? Was that quite a big jump for you to start stocking in stores? Because you did, I mean, you were talking about one day, one garment, so you need to make X amount just
For
to put it
stock,
in
yeah.
the store. It's
Yeah,
a big layup of labour, front heavy.
I can't take on too many stockists because you obviously lose a big chunk of the money, but your product's getting out there. So it's like you kind of get covered for, you cover your costs, you make just enough, but you maybe don't make a load of, like that much profit on it, but your product's getting out there. The issue with, I've developed a product that's like unwholesalable, which is really smart. So yeah, we need to kind of be smart about our stockists and have like ones that add value to us.
Mm-hmm.
So we have Inhouse, which is a sustainable women's wear like boutique in Newington Green in London. I need to get another menswear one in London. There's a few that I've got my eye on, so I want to make that happen this year. And we've got one in Japan, and then we've got Orzo here, and then we've got us.
Yeah.
So it's like slowly building that up. Like I want to have
Creative
one
collection.
or two in like Amsterdam, Europe, like maybe in Antwerp,
Mm-hmm.
Yep.
and like Amsterdam or Rotterdam, Eindhoven, Holland area. That would be good. And then one more in London, and I think that'd be fine for now. Maybe another in Tokyo.
Yeah.
It's that when you're sending it internationally and stuff, but as long as there's a few pieces there, like we wouldn't be sending loads. It'd be like 8 to 10 pieces, you know,
Yeah.
it's not masses.
Yeah, it's a very small number of. We've had 2 similar conversations. One was with Jamie and Lucy at Banton Frameworks. They do glasses frames, really nice handmade glasses frames, and I think they tried like it's obviously very difficult for them to, because of the cost of what it is, to put them in. You know, they couldn't go into Specsavers and have 100 frames there because it would take them a year to do that. But having like a display stand, like you mentioned, it would just like a few variants just to get it out there. And whether it's sold through shop or sold through, you know, people coming directly back to you. And then the other one was Ross at Finiston. You know, his seemed to be his end goal, his big dream was like a destination shop for, you know, smaller brands to all have pockets within. And I think something like that would do really well in
Ross
certainly
is
in
great.
Glasgow.
He's really nice.
Ross is wicked. Yeah.
I
Got
noticed
his
your
hat.
fitness didn't have when you came in. I was
love
like,
it.
I spotted the F straight away. Yeah, like I need to work. The aim is to build up a business that is direct to consumer, but you can't just do that overnight, especially when you're not in London. So yeah,
And how do
it's
you,
a struggle.
It is a struggle.
and how do you do all that, Mark? How do you try and do that at the moment? What's the marketing strategy? Is it primarily Instagram or?
It's Instagram and mailing lists.
Do you find your newsletter quite a good way to...
Yeah, it's good. We do that, and we have and obviously our own website. I want to use Google Ads more. I've heard they're better than Instagram, and I kind of resent giving money to
Google.
Facebook.
Aye, yeah.
But I mean,
Everyone.
Google as well. But
everyone, everyone.
But my friend said recently she's like, the Google Ads actually pay off. So
That's good to know.
so we're gonna do that. But yeah, essentially, like with the stuff that we've got lined up this year, the plan is hopefully we'll see a lot of growth. So
That's good.
The thing about Google Ads is like there's so many bits you need to learn to do it properly. Same with Instagram. We've got someone helping us at the minute, and like it just where do you start? I genuinely
so
don't. I don't know how they like every person can.
you need to
that's-
spend a lot of time
do.
learning. Like it's not, you can so easily do it wrong, and then you're wasting money.
Money.
That's the issue. It's
That is
like,
the issue.
Yeah,
but
and
then
not
it's
a
like,
direct
do you
feedback.
hire somebody to do it? Because like I get so like my inbox is like in flux with like just sales pitches from like every mental service, and it's like, mate, see if I don't get back to you, do not email me again. It's like getting to the 5th or 10th email, and it's like, I'm not getting back to you. Leave me alone. Please leave me alone.
How many people have emailed you to say they're going to update your SEO on your website?
Oh no, but like that is like 1/10 of like all the different services I get.
Oh,
So,
really?
and then every now and then, like I'll actually jump on a call with somebody because I don't know, some tiny little thing. Because like, would it be good to work with an agency to do your ads, or would it not? And also, if they deliver the growth that they are promising, can we obtain, like, can we push that out? Like, it's a handmade product, so people are like chasing up me for this, that, and the other. And it's like, mate, I'm making, like, I'm not on my emails all day. Like,
That's a really good point. Yeah, because
people don't understand that, because
Yeah.
most businesses, they buy in the product and they sell it.
Yep.
Like, we run everything from here.
Someone could be like, I could get you 100 sales next week. That's
I don't want. I
useless
can't.
for you.
I don't
You
want
can't do
100
it.
sales. I
Yeah.
can't. I literally cannot do that.
Yeah.
Doesn't work for me
Um,
in my business.
So, yeah, it's also like pushing that made in house, which I think people appreciate, but do they actually buy into it? Even like most bigger brands, they are, like most people get their stuff made at best in like places like Portugal. You know, there's a few brands. I mean, even Birdsong in London, like they were making everything in London. And supporting women and doing that and paying everybody a fair living wage, and they have even this year have said, yeah, we can't keep going. We're taking a break from the business and we're reevaluating. Like, we're not closing, but like right now they're stopping their production and stuff, and they're reevaluating how they can function, because the reality is it's hard.
Yeah.
You're making in-house, it should be easier, but obviously we've got a really time consuming product to make. But if you're making within factories in the UK, again, it's really hard, because most big brands it's modern slavery. And if you're one of the ethical ones and you're paying everybody a fair living wage, like, how do you actually make money?
Yeah, your price is going up, and then it doesn't look as attractive as the cheap, right?
And I know we're in a recession, but it's like, and it's hard. It's so hard for everybody right now. But if you want to see the small guys around, you've got to support them, because if you're not doing it, who is?
Exactly.
So it's tough out there
Yeah, and
for everyone. Like, yeah.
And how, so if someone wanted to support you and maybe can't afford the price tag, which is totally fine, there's people that can't afford it.
Totally. I couldn't afford it.
What's the best way to support you? Or as a small business, what do you think the best way to support someone is?
Talk about it, share, like comment, engage on social media, I guess is the main thing that everybody says. Come along to our mending clubs and like, yeah, just engage in whatever level you can.
Word of mouth is the best.
Word of mouth is the best. And something that I want to do is, another thing to add to the list, is send out a mailer catalogue.
Okay.
You know, you see like the next catalogue in the Bon Marché, and I think there's something to be said for going back to basics. Probably should have said that, like, so now I'm going to start doing it. But once I kind of redo the feminine side of the collection, I want to shoot it all and just like put out a little mail order catalogue, and if it's like beautiful, people will look at it, and I think people will engage with that more than
They'll keep it as well.
They'll keep it as well, but they'll engage with that more than like Instagram because it's like there in front of them.
That's
It's
why we did the book.
Yep.
Exactly, and it's more refreshing, and like if it's like one of those random brands that you've seen for years that are still doing it, you just put it straight in the bin. But if it's something you haven't seen before, it's eye catching. You look at it,
And if it's really well made, like
Exactly.
if it's like a nice quality thing that portrays your brand.
yeah.
Like when we started the idea of We Are Makers, and it was like, obviously, if we'd just done it as a social media thing, it'd be much cheaper to produce. Like producing the book is eye-wateringly expensive. When Kate slides the quotes over my desk, like
You're,
at
like,
an arm's
crying.
reach, exactly. But
Cry.
then you see pictures, and there's people have still got edition 1 sat in their bookstore, and they're showing you edition 5, and obviously 6 coming out, and like people keep them if they're well done.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean?
yeah,
and if you're
totally.
doing like a really nice like catalogue, as you say, and it's people will keep it, and then they might pick it up X amount of years later, or someone might visit and pick it up, and then they would never have been able to see your brand that way. Mm-hmm. I think it's a really nice way, especially with this kind of world
Product
of like made. Historic's the wrong word for it, but made to
It's
last.
like going back to
Yeah.
pre-internet times.
Yeah.
Well, like you look at the Levi XX range and the Lee 101B, you know, like the old cowboy fits, you can't get them anywhere. But then you go down to like Aero Clothing and Gala Shields, I got a bunch of pair of jeans for them, and they're the only ones that do them anymore. But they'll take you down and show you them, and they're amazing. See, when you get your hand on them, they're wicked.
But see, when I was in Amsterdam, like the level of vintage clothing was like totally different. Like there's people there selling like really obviously like well-worn pieces, but you're buying them because they're sold and they're worn, whereas like in Glasgow you'd be like, why would I want like an old, like why would I want that? And it's like you're wearing history. And like I think in Holland certain types of like vintage, like there's so many different like categories of vintage lovers, whereas here I feel like it's just like vintage workwear or like the stuff that you get in the vintage shops, like 70s, whatever, 60s, yada yada. But it's like proper old military stuff and like just like really well worn, but it's like people are buying it because of that specific bit of wear. So yeah, when you look at these old jeans and you follow these denim heads on there, like pulling out these super old vintage pairs that are like worth thousands, and they're covered in paint splats, and there's like a tear and it's been repaired, and like that adds so much value.
good,
That
though.
adds more money on.
does,
Yeah, it looks good. Yeah,
I remember
so, yeah.
a Filson video. So I used to have a Filson tin cloth cruiser. I had it for about 3 or 4 years, and I had lost loads of weight, so it was just like a bin bag on me. So I gave it to a friend who still wears it daily, and the thing that it was a lot of money at the time, money that actually I didn't have, but I went for it because I was in the New York store, and the thing that sort of flicked the switch for me is there was a video of the guys going through the Filson store, and he was specifically saying like, these, you need to wear these in. Like, because you need to wear them in, and it's the same with all my Red Wing boots and my Thorogood boots and stuff, because you need to wear them in, that's all extra life you're getting out of them. Because they're not perfect for the first year or two, and then they start getting good. And that's what I think is really interesting about your brand, is it's harking back to that, but they've already had a life in front of them.
they're already worn. I mean,
Yeah.
some of the pieces are the vintage denim that I got from Amsterdam that's like not been worn, but like a lot of the pieces, they kind of all have that character.
Yeah.
And they'll have like little bits of visible mending that I will have added. So yeah, there's more character in it, and it's like buying into that sort of showing that visible life and like the garment as a story.
I think it's a talking point. Like your jacket that you're wearing just now, it's like, it's very unusual. Like,
Yeah.
I'd love one. But you know what I mean? Like, there's a story to tell with that
exactly.
jacket.
Yeah, you don't ask someone where they got their plain, bland, you know. And there's nothing wrong with it. There's absolutely nothing wrong with it. They're like Levi or their Primark hoodie. You're not like, oh, that's really cool. Where did you get it?
Yeah.
But like, you see you in like a full denim custom kimono, and you're like,
that's cool.
Where did you get that? Obviously, we know where you got it because we're here. But that
made
kind
it
of
with my
thing.
own hands.
Yeah, exactly.
So
I find it really hard to get like good clothes these days. Like we went shopping
same.
the other day, and I genuinely just came out the shops because I was so frustrated that I couldn't find
You nearly blew a
anything.
gasket.
Yeah, I was just like,
Menswear clothing's, I think, is
much
just
better.
so much better, and it's
Shopping as a
accelerated in
woman.
the past few years. Whenever I go shopping with Kate, like the stuff that you eventually do find, it's like, I'll get this because it'll do.
Yeah,
Do you know it's
shopping
not,
as a woman is awful.
it really
like,
is. It's really sad.
I slowly, like, I'm trying to invest in pieces from like my friends' businesses. Like I really want Alice, I was talking about before, to make me like a custom dress. So I was trying to get something nice to wear for the SRD Awards in November, and I ordered some stuff off Vinted. And I knew it wasn't going to fit, but I was like, oh, we'll try it. And it just, like, obviously it didn't fit. You can't return off of there.
Yeah.
And I hate going shopping because you just know it's not going to fit you right. Like, I am, like, heavy up top and, like, curvy down the bottom. So it's like, basically you need to get something made custom. And that might be really expensive, but you know it's going to last you forever. So actually, in the long run, it's probably cheaper and you'll feel better in what you're wearing.
There was always this mindset of like, oh, I've worn it a million times. Everyone's seen me in it a million times, but
if you
there's-
look good in it, you feel good in it. You
What's
should
wrong
feel
with it?
empowered every time you put it on.
exactly.
Like,
I think it's frustrating when you feel like that. Like, oh, but I've already worn that like all the time. It's
I
like,
think that narrative needs to go.
it needs to
like,
change.
And I feel like it is. Like if I had a dress made custom for me that I felt $1 billion and I'd never have it off.
Exactly.
And when you see people, you will feel $1 million, so you'll be like your best
More
self.
confident, yeah.
You'll be way more confident. So, yeah. Well, shopping as a woman is borderline traumatic.
I'm glad I'm not the only one because
No,
I genuinely it's so
honestly,
hard. I
it's
gave up.
awful. I just don't. Yeah. And then if you don't have any clothes that you like wearing, getting dressed is like
nightmare.
constantly wearing like leggings or trackies because you're just like, oh, I've got nothing I feel good in, and it's like not good for your mental
No,
health.
it's
man.
not.
Like,
It's not. It's not.
I have a meltdown every single time I leave the house and I'm trying to be my best self, and I'm like, I just have nothing I feel good in right now.
Exactly.
It's
and
horrible.
And do you know what? Like prices are becoming more expensive at the shops, just even for like stuff that's not even that well made.
Yeah, because the price of everything is going up. Like fabrics are going up.
Yep.
Everything, shipping, all the stuff.
That must be beneficial for smaller makers, though, or it will become beneficial. See if people start. It's difficult in it because you're trying to change a whole consumer mindset.
Which is hard.
Like the t-shirt that
know
used
you're
to be
getting
20
on,
quid or 20 quid for the jumper, 30 quid, 40 quid for the jumper. That's a long way away from the
£2 from Primark.
the £140. You know, this hoodie's for Finiston, and it was, I can't remember what it was. Say 120 quid.
When
for
did you get that hoodie from Finiston?
Christmas, just before Christmas, the week of Christmas.
The week of Christmas.
So that's
this is
brand
my
new.
This is my new one.
Right.
But the other one that I've had for maybe 2 years, and I wear it
Exactly.
every single time I need to put a jumper on.
How much did that cost? Like 150 or something?
I think it was like 120, 130.
Yeah.
something like that.
120 over 3 years. So say you wear that a third of the year. So that's what 120 wears a year times 365. What's 365 days divided by 125 pounds? What's the cost per wear of that?
I know.
That's exactly what
And
I'm
it'll
getting
look
at,
like
is the
that
cost per-
in the next
And it will
couple
still
of
look
years.
like that. Like I remember when I bought my first pair of Red Wing boots, I've still got
And
them.
if it wears a bit, it'll look good.
Yeah.
Like if the cuffs start to go, it's character.
Yeah. Yeah.
It doesn't
yeah.
need to be put in the bin. It's character, and you can get it repaired, and it's more character. So yeah, I know it's hard, and like people don't have a lot of money, and times are tough, and all that jazz. And I can relate. And obviously, if within your means you can only buy from fast fashion and Primark and all that stuff, absolutely, like, mate, you're not the issue with the system, and fast fashion is not propped up by people on low income. Like,
No.
that's, like, let's just put that on the table right now. People that are propping up fast fashion are those that continue to buy from them because that's all they know, because we've been conditioned to be a consumerist state. But the reality is, if we changed our spending habits, and instead of buying loads of tat that you don't wear a year later, you pick 4 or 5 or more, depending on your budget, key pieces, buy them well, buy stuff that will last, take care of them. The higher price point means that you value them more, so you will take care of them. Like, my boyfriend's main Christmas present from his mum was a lady white coat hoodie. It was about £200, but it is stunning, and that will last him years. So it's the same as yours.
Yep.
And so within a year, within a year, you figured you've like paid for that just in wear. I wore it. I stole it from him for like a whole week, and I was like, "I've stolen your Christmas. Just tell me you want it back." I just like put it on religiously when I just was like only leaving the house to walk the dog, you know.
Yeah.
And yeah, so it's like seeing the value in your clothes. Obviously, it's a big cost up front, but if you can save and buy investment pieces. But also before fast fashion kicked off, that's how people bought stuff.
Exactly.
Like,
They repaired
can
it.
we just go back to like when my mum got her clothes? She would like her as a child, like all my aunts and that, like they would get one coat and that would have to last them 3 years. So they would buy it too big for them, and then it would get handed down. But that stuff was well made. And you knew if you were getting new clothes that year, you get maybe 4 pieces, maybe 1 new pair of shoes, or maybe more shoes because you might go through them more.
Yep.
But you'd be getting scolded if you ruined them too quickly, you know.
I remember
You get one coat every 3 years, and like, I don't know, a couple of shirts, and most of it would be hand-me-downs, and you know, you wouldn't be excessively buying.
That's
And
what
that
we
stuff
are
would have
doing.
been made locally. You would probably have a local shop, but it was made in-house, so it was made to fit you. You know,
But,
so
I mean, there's 2 points to that, isn't
it's
there?
not
Like,
alien. It's
No.
how it used to be.
But you couldn't hand down clothes now, like cheap clothes. You couldn't hand down Primark hoodies because they're just burst after like.
Well,
a few
exactly.
weeks.
Yeah.
Whereas if you buy good, you can do that.
And everything that's in charity shops is old fast fashion, and everything that's getting sent off to Canton Market and like landfills and here, there, and everywhere, it's trash, and it's all polyester, it's all plastic, it's not going to go anywhere. The stuff we had before was all wool or cotton or silk or whatever. There was no petrochemicals in those garments, so A, they would last, B, they were breathable, C, they were easy to repair. They probably didn't need wash that much. Like your wool coat, when did that need wash? You don't need your shirts. You probably only wash the armpits, and you would, and like during the week, rinse the armpits and then put it out. You know, like we need to go
I know.
back to
My mum-
basics. Also, people buy high end clothes and then they wash them like however many times a week, and then they don't last that long because you've literally boiled that garment down and the fibers are wearing away. Like hand wash the smelly areas of your garments and wash them less, and your garments will last way longer.
Yep.
Well, my mum's
Seems
nearly
simple,
60, and
It is simple.
and she's got clothes still in her wardrobe that she had when she was 20.
Your
She
mum
doesn't
gave you
fit
a
them
leather-
anymore,
yeah.
but she's like, I don't want to give them away. I don't want to, put them in the-
100%.
you know.
I remember your mum gave you a leather jacket 2, maybe 3 years ago, because we were going somewhere. Just gave you a lanyard for going somewhere, and it was like, I remember her saying it wasn't a particularly expensive leather jacket. Like it wasn't a top of the line leather jacket.
But it was well cut.
It was way better than anything that you would have went out and bought for 4 or 5 times the price today. It
Yeah,
was
when you've
so
got a
good.
good piece, you hold on to it. Yeah. Like my niece, who's coming on 14, she's like so much taller than me. I took her shopping last weekend, and I took her to Glasgow Vintage Co and dressed her up and all this vintage stuff. It was a bit too like old school for her, but she liked it. And I took her to West Vintage, and we got her this amazing pair of like high waisted white flared jeans that I need to take up for her, and a cute little like mesh tie dye crop top. And like it was so much fun taking her shopping, because she can actually like wear the stuff. You can find stuff in the shops for her because she's like young and whatever. But yeah, I love shopping with other people and like finding other people like clothes and stuff. And I'm trying to like low key get her into vintage and second hand, just like a little bit.
Yeah, whilst they're younger, get them into it. Whilst you know,
Yeah.
get them used to shopping that way rather than the way they are shopping at the minute.
And I'm like, oh, if people ask where you got it from, but I don't know, man, got it from, it's vintage.
You'll never get one.
It's one of a kind.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
Like trying to like teach her the value of that.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
Is that something you've always been quite passionate about, or is it only?
Well, me and my sister always shopped at Mr. Ben's. I mean, don't get me wrong. Like, I would always shop in I was shopping Zara and Primark when I was like young, because you would I worked in a chippy, and so I would get my wages from that, and then I'd go into town, spend it on stuff, and then my sister. So I go into town during the day, buy stuff from Primark, and then go do a night shift in the chippy, and then my sister would come in, see everything that I got from Primark, and I'd wear it to the club that night, and I'd go mental at her. But it was good because we could share clothes. But we would always go to Mr. Ben's together. And
where's Mr. Ben's? What's
Mr. Ben's is a vintage shop on King Street.
Okay.
Just behind St Enoch Centre. It's like not far from here at all. It's like the OG vintage shop in Glasgow.
Right.
So we both had loads of stuff from there. And we would take my dad there for like a joke, like, what do you want for Christmas? Oh, just get me a picture for that Mr. Ben's. Like, what? Like, you're never going to use that. And then we'd like have to take him in and stuff. But I've still got some like cardigans and stuff from there. And like there's a few jackets that have gone missing over the years that we still talk about. And like, yeah, like I have this like green suede crop jacket. And I'm like, where is that now? Did I like hand that in? Because I need to give that to Orlin. I need to find these pieces.
Yeah.
But I'm also like, I don't want to give them to her. She doesn't value them yet.
Yeah.
Because like I want her to like know that that's like an important piece and not just like not get it.
Mm-hmm.
So
I'll just leave it somewhere and forget
yeah,
about
exactly. It's like that. It's that like line. But yeah, when you buy old clothes, you're more precious of them. Like I've got loads of amazing old knitwear that I want to get repaired, and it still looks good, kind of falling apart. But it's like repaired, it'll look cool.
Yeah.
So yeah. Repairing is cool.
And it is cool, and I certainly think with other like cheap fast fashion products coming up in price, that jump to just buying well is a little bit less. I know they've also gone up in price, but they're priced a bit more resiliently.
You know where your money's going.
That's my point, yeah.
And also, I feel like if you are shopping within local brands, what to think about is that money's going directly into the local economy, right? If you shop with local business, the money's going into the local economy, which benefits everyone, right?
Yeah.
If you shop from the high street, where's that money going? That money's going to some billionaire's pocket offshore. They're probably not even paying tax here, yada, yada.
Drop in the ocean in their pocket, but
exactly.
to you, one sale was...
And where am I going to spend that money? I'm going to spend that money locally.
Yep.
It boosts everybody, so buying local. There's a whole lot to be said for like a local economy with your food and your clothing and all that stuff. Yeah. Going back to basics, where you go to your baker and your butcher and your candlestick maker and all that jazz, which a lot of people are doing.
Yeah.
Yep.
But it's like, it's hard to do it consistently, isn't it? Because when times are tough, you're going to go to... the supermarket to get stuff cheap rather than going to Locavore for everything. But even if you can get some stuff from Locavore, like I'll do my food shop from Aldi, but I'll get my cleaning products from Locavore and I'll try and do all the reusable thing. And it's a bit expensive at first, but you need to buy all the bottles and all that stuff. And then, but also those cleaning products aren't toxic. They're not bad for your skin or anything. There's no like toxic chemicals in them.
What are they called?
Locavore, it's like a...
I heard it here.
It's a just like a refill like food shop, but they do like just all like the good like green brands of stuff, like plastic free, organic, like loads of good veggie vegan options, but you can still get meat there and stuff. It's just like a good local supermarket.
Okay.
Yeah.
So if you want to get local produce, you can get a veg box from them.
Cool.
Yeah, I mean, we shop at Aldi, like...
Yeah, I shop at Aldi, but I try to get my cleaning products from them because at least I know I'm like supporting that business in the way that I can.
Yeah, like we support the farm, you know.
Aye, that's
yeah,
what
you'll have
say.
loads of farmers that you'll get like your meat and your whatever from or your food. You will get some of your...
Not as much as we should, but
No.
like for Christmas dinner we went down to Finglass Farm and got all our stuff, and if it was an occasion we were cooking for, we would definitely go there. Fallinage, sorry. And it's definitely something we should do more. I think everyone should do more, but
But it takes more time. It's like the refill stuff and...
We all just want easy, don't we?
It's finding the balance
unfortunately.
of convenience over...
Convenience, that's the word.
Because we were talking about Amazon before, and yeah, you can get stuff next day, but like, should you be able to get stuff next day? Like,
Do you need it next
Do you
day?
need it next day? Like, if you really need it, if you literally need it, like, yeah, okay, cool, do it. But if you can avoid places like Amazon, obviously, I normally try to get all my stuff from eBay because I feel a bit better about it. But
We buy so much, like we had to buy this kit brand new, but like camera kit, and I buy all my lenses second hand and stuff because I just
things like that. Like even like household items, like find it on Facebook Marketplace secondhand.
Yes, that's
you know?
where we get our coffee table and everything. It's just
get like you can, if you think a little bit harder, anything you're purchasing, you can probably get it.
Someone's already purchased it.
Yeah, just have a little look and see, and then if
we don't need to buy now.
but it's that point of like just consider, right, okay, I need this thing, right? Don't get it straight away. Think about it, right? Okay, this is how much it costing you. Okay, sit on it for a week and think, right, where can I get it secondhand or a little bit cheaper? Can I get a deal? Yada yada. Just like mindfully consuming, and if you just need the thing the next day, Amazon's great, but
do you need it?
But do you need it the next day? No, you don't really. And whose fault is it for leaving it to the last minute? Unless you're working in like production and like it's like like a big fucking show. Yeah,
you do need it. Like
because like a job will come in and they're like, oh yeah, can you turn this around in a week? You're like, fuck. Okay, I'm gonna shop with every company that I hate, but that's fine because that's the job.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's just trying to consume more mindfully, and I know it takes a bit more time and work, but you feel the value in it because you feel you're being a better consumer and all that jazz and all that wholesome shit. You just feel so much better.
So you talked quite a bit and quite passionately about sort of the local economy and stuff there. Do you think you would be in a position to... You brought on one lass for sewing. Mm-hmm. Do you think you'd be in a position where you'd like to grow it to something bigger? And how would it look to find that skill set? Are they skill sets that are still super available, or is a lot of training involved?
Yes to both. There are skill sets here. I was so lucky to find Hazel because she has a studio in this building.
Oh, perfect.
So when she got in touch, I was like blown away because I'd been working with people that had some sewing skills, but sometimes people would come in and it was like, did you help or hinder me? You know, like
I have to go back and do it.
Sometimes it's good. Like I've worked better just having another person in the space. I used to work really good independently, but then I think with the pandemic, you were on your own for so long, and I was like, oh, if there's somebody here, we just get through it. Whereas if I'm here on my own, if I'm not like in the zone, I'll just like piss
There's nowhere
about.
to motivate you. Or anything.
Yeah, if you're not in the zone and your mind's not there, it's like pulling teeth trying to get in the zone and like work efficiently. And there's nobody around to like, if they're working, you're working, so. That's why it's just better having people in. So yeah, if we do get the next bigger unit, I would probably have at least one person full time, and then maybe Ruthie or somebody part time. So be a more consistent team of 3, and then it'd be good to have like a few more, like even like 3 people making. But we'll see. I'd like to like grow the repair side of the business to the point where like that's just somebody's role, even if it's like 2 or 3 days a week, you just come in and you do the repairs, because I find it quite hard like changing between the tasks. Like if I'm in production mode, it's like pulling teeth to like answer an email because like I'm not in admin mode, and if I'm doing repairs, it's like chopping and changing. So
you're not really concentrating too much, your mind's elsewhere.
Yeah, it's like mentally you need to like go into the different headspace to do a different task,
Admin.
I don't know.
Admin's a whole different side.
Admin is not my forte. I hate it. It's anything like, it's like pulling teeth, man. Like it's just not my guy. So
I don't think it's many creators.
So do you think if you were going to expand, you would fill those roles before you tried to fill additional maker roles?
Yeah, I guess. I mean, I would want one full-time maker and then one like, probably do have enough work for somebody to be in like 3-4 days a week, on like marketing, administration, that kind of stuff. It's just streamlining everything, isn't it?
Yeah, it's also I always find it hard to, like, we've talked about it loads. We ideally would like to get someone else on board, but it's like you don't see that somebody answering emails isn't directly making money. So it's like, how does that justify that wage? You know, it's always that balance, and especially as a small business, it's a balance I'd love someone to just tell me the answer to be honest.
We always keep saying we'd love to have just like studied like photography or videography or something like that, because those skills these days is like, you pay a lot of money to have those skills.
Oh
Yeah,
definitely. Like,
do you do all your own photography and stuff?
I work with this amazing photographer called Aga, so whenever I do like editorials or e-commerce shoots, I'm just like, Aga, boom, get it in.
It's good.
I should probably work with some different people to get a bit more of like different stuff, but I
you
can
like
go
her
in.
work, why would
I
you?
go in with Aga and I know it's fine. I can relax. And it's always a different setup anyway. Like, we'll have different models and we'll have different locations. So yeah, it's just, we work well together, and it's fun. So yeah.
Yeah, I don't know if it's worth it. I think if you found someone that works with you, obviously it's always nice to look at other things, but see, sometimes I think if you find someone that works, just stick at it.
Keep
and
hold of
double down
them.
with that.
Yeah, exactly. So, but it's one of those things like creatives, years go by and they get bigger, better clients, and then the costs go up. But you're like buzzing because you can see their career grow further. Yeah. So, but yeah, the good thing about being a small business, you're always collaborating. Like, I have collaborations with other companies, but like when we're doing a shoot, it's like a collaboration between the photographer, the location, the models, styling. Styling is one thing. I always want to hire a stylist, but I'm like, budget-wise, I would just do it myself. But then I'll always look at the style and I'm like, oh, it could be better.
One day.
But also because I'm making the product, it's like I'm trying to get everything finished, put it together. So the styling is like the last thing.
Yeah, that's not the full-time job at that point, is it? It's just something
So
else.
that's slowly getting better, but I would like,
Are you a perfectionist or?
yes and no. As I go on, I'm probably much more of a perfectionist, but then if you were on a shoot with me, you'd be like...
Because I can imagine
and
me
in
being
different ways,
perfectionist, like, oh no, that's not quite right, or that's not quite right, and just
but also sometimes you just need to get it done.
that is it. You just need to get it done.
That's
Stop
one of the big learning
overthinking.
points.
Because if you're so much of a perfectionist, you're never going to be happy with anything. And like some of the pieces that I'm like not happy with are normally the pieces people love the most, ones I'm not sure about, and it's like it's because you're too close to it.
Yeah.
So if I really hate something, I'll just be like, speak to somebody else about it because I'm too close to it.
Yeah.
You've been working on it too much, and you need to just walk away and come back.
That's a good point. Yeah, you just get too close to it.
Yeah.
You'll see all the flaws that people will never see.
Yeah, exactly.
Volker said that about his bike. He'd worked on it for like how many months solid, and then he just put a sheet over it.
It was almost exactly this conversation. He put a sheet over it for like a month or so.
Yeah, and he came back to me and says, "Oh, I made that. That's cool."
Yeah, definitely.
I think you need to just be able to appreciate it at times, don't you? Ace. Is there anything you wanted to cover while we're here? I mean, we talked about all the things that you now have to do. Could you say that?
We've got it on record,
Yeah.
and it'll be on the internet. So.
You're sending you clips there. Come like April, May, I'll be like, have you booked Japan? Because you said it.
Yeah, I'm now a bit overwhelmed. I'm like,
You'll come
is
off
that
this and be like-
realistic? I don't know if any of that's realistic, but
I'd
I
like
know
to see it
I know my main goals, like, so it's fine.
Yeah, I'd like to see it happen, whether it's realistic or not. I think one, it is realistic. I would really like to see it
If I
happen.
get like, if I have another person like full time in here help me like with everything, then it is realistic. So to get that application in, really.
Yeah.
You do.
It's a job for tonight.
I've got one last question.
Yeah.
What advice would you give your younger self?
Oh, that's a good one. I don't know.
It's a good one, but I don't know.
Just get on with it and stop questioning shit. I think I spent a lot of time like worrying about stupid stuff. Like when I started, I worried that people would want to cancel me for cutting up old jeans that were like wearable, and it's like, baby, literally got that from like a big bin
Yeah.
of like old clothes that had been donated. But like it was like really silly thing. I think I worry too much about how somebody can criticize you from the outside.
It's very true.
Yeah, and especially in today's sort of world.
Yeah. I don't want to say
Keyboard,
it, but
keyboard warriors.
Yeah,
Yeah.
warrior. It's so easy for somebody to kick off and say something because they've seen a 45-second reel. They've not seen the 3, 4, 5 years to set the business up. They've seen that little bit and they're adamant that they know what it's all about.
Yeah, but I think also it's like knowing, just like sticking to your own, like trusting your own like vision and like what you want to do. Obviously, it's good to like quite often I'm terrible at decision making. Like I can't make a decision, so I need to put it out to loads of different people, and then they'll come back with the wrong answer because like they'll have picked something else, and then as soon as they pick the other thing, I'm like, nah. Like it reaffirms what I actually want because I'm like, nah, that's not what I want.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? So it's like just know to
Just
like listen to yourself. Yeah.
There's a term for that.
It winds my partner up so much. Like, why did you ask me? And I was like, well, now I know that I believe in my decision more.
Yeah,
so it's valuable. And you get
That's
so annoyed.
actually a really good way to look at it because there is a term for it because I get annoyed when Kate does it to me. And the term asshole.
I've not heard that.
You know, so an
I've not
asshole that asks you a question that they know the answer to.
Just call me an asshole.
Because I was like that. I was like that for forever. I was like, why have you asked me? And then as soon as you said there that actually it was to
It's
give you the
affirmed my
headspace
original
to affirm, I'm
decision.
like,
Now you know, like,
I'm
I
like
asked you
now
a
I know why
question.
Kate asks me questions and then answers them anyway.
Yeah.
Why did you waste my time
You
and
just
ask me?
you just need that like outside perspective. Or if you're really not sure, you're like,
It's almost just putting it out into the open, isn't it? It's
Yeah.
almost just saying it out loud and then you can make the
you're
decision
surer
clear.
of like what you actually want. You know what your favourite is, but you're like, I'll wait to see what everyone else says. And then you're like,
Nah, that's mine.
nah, that's the guy.
Yeah. Nice.
So,
That was a good answer.
That was a good answer.
Very
Don't know if
true.
it was very concise, but
No,
it's fine.
It is.
So where do people find you and find out more about Regine and what's coming up? And where do they see the Japan trip?
Instagram, mailing list, website,
It's amazing.
rejinedenim.com.
Nice. And we'll get all that up.
And come to our mending club when it starts back up.
Yeah, when are you planning on starting then back up?
Haven't really decided yet. I think we started it in February last year, but it was still like bitter cold. So I think we might do March.
And that's for people to bring their own stuff to mend, is that right?
Yeah, so you
Yeah.
come along and bring some garments to repair, and we'll do a little Sashiko trial if you haven't tried it before, if it's your first time. And then basically you bring out your garment and I kind of work my way around the room and like we'll figure out a plan to mend whatever you've brought. And
That's
then
really cool.
hopefully you leave with a mended garment, or you've restarted and then you can keep going at home. And then people that come kind of regularly, they'll normally just come in and get going and like have the nice chat. And
Do you get many people that come regularly? That'll keep coming
Yeah.
back? And, yeah?
maybe not like every single month, but you get people like who come like maybe 4 or 6 times a year. Like they come as regularly as they can,
That's
or like
cool.
they'll book on and then they'll be like, "Oh, I'm absolutely frazzled from work. Like I just can't." I'm like, "But this will chill you out."
Yeah.
Yeah.
But like after a long day, sometimes
You
just
don't
need
want to
go
use
to your
yeah,
bed.
I
yeah.
get it.
Watch the telly.
But yeah, so trying to slowly build up a wee like mending community. So yeah.
That's
Good.
wicked. Brilliant. Thanks so much for your time.
I know
Thank
it's been
you.
I
great
know it's
fun.
your first day back in the studio, so I appreciate you getting
Coming
back
in early.
Aye.
Well, it was good for me because I needed that kick to get up because normally I'm up at like 7 and like getting up at 7 now is like
Hard work.
impossible.
It's so
impossible.
hard.
Like trying to get to the gym for 7 a.m. So like
Oh,
hopefully next week I can make myself go to the gym for 7
I'm a
a.m.
half
I'm
6
slowly-
at night time
Aye.
kind of person.
I'm-
Not 7 in the morning.
I'm more of a morning. Well, I'd rather get it out of the way in the morning because I prefer to work late.
Yeah.
But I might need to see if I become a evening class, get in early, have to get all the work done because I've got to leave to go to the gym. So we'll see.
That's what we do because it ends our day well.
yeah.
I always used to go early, and then Kate joined the gym, and we started going to the evening one because it suited you better. You're not really a morning person, but you can work late. And
Yeah.
actually, what I found is it means that we go to 6:30, and it means at 5:30,
You have to finish on it.
5:45, I step away from work. Because so my pal, who's the workshop supervisor down there, he used to phone me when he was driving home from work at like 5:30 every night. And sometimes that's the first time I'd looked at my phone since lunch. I'm like, oh shit, it's this time. Whereas
Yeah.
if we know we've got something on, it just switches you off.
Yeah,
And
I'm
I found
like
it really good.
toying with the two, or maybe like a couple of morning sessions and a couple of evening sessions.
Try it. See where
It
it goes.
depends, but yeah, because I'm
There's less chance
guilty.
you'll get out your bed.
I'm
in time, though.
guilty of like staying here till like 7, 8, sometimes
Yeah.
later. So it kind of forces you to get your work done and leave at a reasonable
Yep.
hour, like everybody else. So
Yep.
it's that balancing act, trying to have better balance.
Yeah,
work-life
work-life
balance.
balance, all that jazz.
2023,
That's
I
it.
know.
whatever that means.
I know.
Wicked.
Okay.
Well, we'll wrap up at that.
Yeah.
Again, thanks so much for your
Thank
time.
you.
Thank you.
And,
Thanks for having me on.
Obviously, thanks so much for your time way back when we done the first edition as well.
Yeah.
Giving us.
No, it's great to see like how much you guys have grown since then, and actually be able to see your faces.
I know. It's always good.
Now that we're a world not locked in.
Cool.
Cheers.